And the heat is really on. We're talking record-breaking temperatures for several days. Any relief in sight? We'll look at it in the forecast.
You know, it's really dry, so it makes you nervous. It makes my kids nervous.
Several new wildfires sparking throughout the state, including one getting close to homes in Pleasant Grove. We'll get you up to speed on the various firefights happening now.
This is not a time to be polite. This is the time to stand up and say this is unsafe and I should not be in an unsafe situation.
And why some teachers are taking drastic measures to keep the students they love safe from COVID-19.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Our top story tonight, the dangerous heat wave making its way through our state.
Meteorologist Breck Bolton joining us now with a look at what we can expect in our first alert forecast. Hi, Breck.
Well, good evening. Yeah, taking a look at what we can expect is kind of look at what we experience here across the state today, where several locations getting up into the triple digits. Extreme heat as we've been having excessive heat warnings across southern Utah. You can see why. St. George, your high today, 111, 101 in Cedar City. As we look over towards southeastern Utah, also triple digits from Hanksville through Moab, getting up to 100 degrees in Delta. Now along the Wasatch Front, we got close to 100 in Salt Lake City. Official high today, 99 degrees. Now, on average, we should be in the low 90s, so finding afternoon highs anywhere between 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Now, currently we stand in the 80s along the Wasatch Front, also finding 70s and 80s towards eastern Utah. Still holding on to some hot temperatures in St. George at this hour. You're at 104 degrees. Now, we showed you those watches and warnings in place. We have several heat advisories, excessive heat warnings, which now incorporate and expand towards northern Utah. This is what we're talking about for tomorrow. And not only for tomorrow, but here for the next several days as that high pressure cooker across the state. As we found highs in the 90s today, we're heading back to the triple digits along the Wasatch Front. Not only has it been hot, but of course it's been dry throughout today, throughout the weekend, over the past several days. It's been 19 days since we found measurable precipitation in Salt Lake City. And as we're seeing that moisture flow, it's around the state, but we're not seeing that cloud and that moisture pushing into the state, which of course would provide maybe a chance for isolated showers. That just has not been the case. It's been clear across the south, also for northern Utah. So looking at tonight, we're going to be looking at mostly clear skies. Temperatures dipping down into the upper 60s. So yes, we're heading towards triple digits and record-breaking territory. Not only just for one day, but for a series of days. How long will this heat wave last? We'll try to answer that coming up in just a bit.
We're now reporting on a series of new fires here in Utah. The Cougar Fire started today around 2 o'clock in Hamlin Valley, that's in Beaver County, currently estimated at about 300 acres and is pushing north tonight. Firefighters worked to contact hunters in the area to make sure they are safe. No containment this evening, but firefighters are using bulldozers to work on establishing a fire line along the flanks.
And in Utah County, crews working to contain the Battle Creek fire just east of Pleasant Grove and Battle Creek Canyon. So far, it's burned about 50 acres, and the hot and dry weather is making it difficult for firefighters, and the proximity to homes in that area has made some people very nervous.
This is the second fire that we've had up in this area this year. The first fire was about an acre and a half, so it wasn't a big deal, but it's nerve-wracking when it could come down the face of that mountain.
Now, the cause of this fire is still under investigation.
The Cowboy Fire east of Salina in Sevier County is estimated between 20 and 25 acres. 3 engines, 3 single-engine air tankers were on scene today. There was no containment at this time. It is not known yet what caused this fire.
The Shingle Creek fire that started yesterday just north of Mirror Lake near mile marker 11 is estimated at 20 to 30 acres at 5% containment. It was determined to be human-caused. Today, crews worked on securing a fire line and extinguishing the hot spots there. Firefighters have closed Norway Flat Road during this firefight. And with those high temperatures expected in the valley throughout this week, Salt Lake County is now offering cooling centers.
They have 2 in the valley, one at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy and the other right downtown at the Salt Palace Convention Center. And that's where we find Fox 13's Elle Thomas joining us live tonight with more. Elle, good evening.
Yeah, hey guys, it feels great out here right now, but you just heard Breck saying at record-breaking temperatures, triple-digit temperatures, so it's going to be hot. If you need a place to cool down, this is definitely where you can come, sit down, cool off, hydrate, and stay safe. Taking a walk inside the Salt Palace Convention Center, signs line the entrance enforcing face masks and standard social distancing protocols, and hand sanitizer is stationed throughout. A quick check-in and contact tracing form, you can go in. Escaping triple-digit heat in a wide-open 72-degree air-conditioned room. It comes complete with water, more sanitizer, and plenty of seating.
They had some treats in there like crackers and chips and pretzels and things like that, but I guess they're gone.
A large room with small gestures to help everyone survive periods of extreme heat.
It's a really good thing.
These cooling centers, the one here at Salt Palace and then at Mountain America Expo Center, going to be open every day from noon until 7 p.m. until next Sunday, so that's the 23rd. You can also find some heat safety tips on our website. Live in Salt Lake City, Elle Thomas, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Good to know. Thanks, Elle. Right now, southbound I-15 closed and northbound is seeing some delays at milepost 378. It's all due to a crash near Tremonton. This is a live look from a UDOT camera that's in that area. UDOT says the duration of this closure is unknown. Of course, we'll keep you posted on air and online when this clears back up.
A scary motorcycle crash took place just after 5 near the Salt Lake City International Airport this afternoon. And 2 men were heading west when they crashed near 3500 West, 2100 North. We're being told the injuries are serious. We'll bring you updates on this crash as they come in.
And also new tonight, 2 sister missionaries with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints serving in Houston, Texas are recovering after being stabbed during a home invasion. Local media outlets there say the missionaries were sleeping in their apartment this morning when the suspect broke in and attacked them. They were both sent to the hospital. Now, a spokesman for the church sent Fox 13 this statement saying in part, quote, "We sincerely pray for them and their families as they deal with and heal from this ordeal. We are grateful for the medical workers and first responders who have been caring for the sister missionaries since this occurred."
Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers in the state of Utah. We're seeing 331 new cases today, which brings the total to 46,462. Nearly 38,000 of those cases are considered recovered. There are currently 164 people hospitalized for the virus. We saw no new deaths today. Days before kids go back to school, teachers are resigning in record numbers.
Fox 13's Spencer Joseph spoke with one of those teachers today and explains why she doesn't feel like she can go back.
Kathy Gray is a teacher who is getting fined $1,000 for leaving too close to the beginning of the school year. A lot of different school districts, not only in Utah, but across the country, are doing this. But she says she wouldn't have resigned if she felt safe, and she felt safe for her students as well.
And I worked really, really hard to get here because it was my dream.
Kathy Gray is a 6th grade teacher in the Granite School District.
Walking away from this profession is the hardest thing I have ever done.
And like many other teachers, she's leaving a job she loves because of COVID-19.
And I would not do it if I did not think that it was in the best interest of kids and in schools in general.
Safety is her top priority.
I wouldn't be able to keep kids safe at the level that their parents were expecting me to keep them safe.
Teachers like Gray are now being fined $1,000 if they resign after a certain date.
However, I did expect them to waive it under this current situation.
The Granite School District is one of those districts that's fining teachers. They issued a statement that says in part, quote, "Teachers had almost a week or up to 3 weeks to opt out of the school year without penalty. We are committed as a school district to provide the safest environment for our students and employees."
And we would never walk out on a class unless it was absolutely imperative to the health of ourselves or our students.
According to our content partners at the Salt Lake Tribune, 79 teachers have resigned in Salt Lake County, at least 16 within this last week. Granite School District has the highest resignations at 32, with 12 retirements on top of that. Other districts have also seen resignations, but Salt Lake School District has none. They'll be holding classes entirely online this fall. Teachers like Gray aren't seeing resignations just here in the Salt Lake Valley.
So I am a member of some grassroots organizations for both my district, my state, and the country. What I am seeing is that it's utter chaos right now.
So as the year approaches, she's telling her fellow educators,
make sure your administrators totally understand that you want to be 100% safe. This is not the time to be polite. This is the time to stand up and say this is unsafe and I should not be in an unsafe situation.
most school districts in Salt Lake County start next week, the week of August 24th. Murray and Canyon School District start tomorrow. If you want to see that full statement from Granite School District, you can go to our website, fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
I'm demanding that Leader McConnell go into regular session so we can have these hearings.
Still ahead, it's being called an unprecedented move at this point in the election cycle, why members of Congress could be soon getting back to work.
The Utah State Fair Park will come alive next month. I'm John Franke in Salt Lake City. I'll explain why organizers are moving ahead with the event.
This is Fox 13 News.
Thanks for staying with us tonight. New at 9, protesters gathered at Reservoir Park for the Dance Dance for Revolution rally to honor Darian Hunt.
Everyone who attended tonight was encouraged to bring signs and bikes to ride along with the rally and to participate in some peaceful dancing. Darian Hunt was a 22-year-old man who was shot by police in Saratoga Springs in 2014 when he was carrying what police believed to be a samurai sword. Saratoga Springs police fired several shots after they say Hunt swung that sword at them, but Hunt's family says he was costume role-playing as a cartoon character and that the sword was not a weapon but an accessory with a rounded blade.
The Utah State Fair has the green light to proceed next month. This weekend, a legislative committee voted to allow the event to move forward with some modifications. Fox 13's John Franke takes a look at the numbers driving this decision.
The State Fair is set to begin in less than a month on September 10th. Right now, the plan calls to allow for 6,000 guests per day. That's just one of the numbers that organizers are using to help navigate this very difficult situation. The Utah State Fair's ad campaign is another sign of the times. A Ferris wheel, ear of corn, and a cow, all wearing masks.
We'd like to host a modified fair.
One of the modifications of the 2020 State Fair is everyone who enters age 3 and up will be required to wear a mask. It was one of the issues explained at Friday's State Fair Park Committee meeting.
The main fair park body is 68 acres. Social distancing was built into the very core design of the facility.
Fair Park Executive Director Larry Mullinax presented this detailed safety plan. The fair will discourage cash transactions and encourage people to buy food and tickets on an app. A limited number of rides will be offered, and the number of food vendors will be scaled back by 50%. This will allow those food trucks to be spaced 30 feet apart.
The number of applicants that would like to have commercial booths and food booths in the fair is actually ahead of last year. So we're turning people away. Many of these have not made any money this entire year.
Those vendors aren't the only ones feeling the sting of a year ravaged by COVID punches.
2020 was scheduled to be a phenomenal year for the fair park.
Instead, the fair park lost all of these events that would have brought in over $1 million. A huge loss for this nonprofit organization.
We wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't try to push forward with an event that would help us secure some revenue to help pay our bills.
But this isn't all about dollars and cents. Mullinax believes the event is important to the community. And while it will not look like it has in years past, the fair is beneficial to young people, many who plan the entire year to show off their work.
Money is not everything on this decision. It's really about trying to support our local artists and our junior livestock show.
If the state's COVID numbers improve, the fair's attendance could be increased to 15,000 guests per day. But if things get worse, this event could be scaled back to just a junior livestock show. So a lot can happen between now and September 10th. In Salt Lake City, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
For the third year in a row, a local bakery is holding a sale for children detained at the Mexico-Texas border. Last year, the organization was able to raise $40,000. And today, they offered an assortment of pastries that they baked over the course of the past 3 days, and they also took in donations.
We love to bake, and we are using that skill that we have and that power that we have to do something good for people in need. And I think that's what this makes such a difference for us and of course for our community.
And Alberto, who you just heard from, says that the bakery, fillings and emulsions will continue to do this each year until the children are no longer detained.
Yesterday felt nice in comparison to where we were getting today. It started to ramp up, and I think we all felt that, but we're just going to break record after record after record this week, it looks like, Breck.
It does look like that. And we're talking about the daily records getting to that maximum record level where we got there close today. But now we're looking at how we're going to do for the whole month of August, where if we continue on this trend, definitely getting into the top 5 hottest Augusts of all time, close to the top 3. And we'll see where we go from here. Today, though, we got up to 99 degrees in Salt Lake City. 1 degree off the record set back in 2007. And as we look over the next few days, that's the record territory we're looking to get towards, where it's about 100 degrees or 99, where as we're getting close today, we're going to be smashing records to start the work week off. Right now, those look at your current conditions along the Wasatch Front. We're in the 80s right now. Overnight lows dipping down into the upper 60s, so we get a little bit of a break, cooling things off. Again, at least for tonight, you'll be able to open up that window, allow the house to cool off. It might be a little bit more difficult, though, where overnight lows for the next few days only getting down into the mid-70s. Now, let me just give you a peek of where we're heading here, especially the next 3 to 4 days. Now, showing you what the forecast temperatures will be, comparing it to where the records are set for these dates. So for tomorrow, forecast high 103. The record is 100. We're smashing the record, especially on Tuesday at 104, where the record's 99 degrees. So triple digits in the forecast. Thursday will be close. But here's the thing. As we look at the month of August so far, we're on average, how many days do we see temperatures at 100 or more? Well, it's only 1 day on average for the month of August if we look back at the history books. So far, 2020, this month we've hit 4 days. So I showed you tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's 5, 6, 7 days. That would tie the most days that we've seen temperatures at 100 for the month of August, which was set back in 1994. So yeah, we're not talking record daily amounts, but potentially looking at what we can do for the whole month of August. Now, with these hot temperatures, as you would expect, we have several warnings in place associated with the heat. First, excessive heat warnings. So we're talking really hot temperatures as we turn towards southeastern, south central Utah, areas such as Hanksville, Green River, looking towards Lake Powell, down towards St. George, and looking for most of western Utah. Heat advisories in place in areas that we typically don't see heat advisories. We're talking the Wasatch back, moving through Duchesne County, Cache Valley. These are areas which could also be well above normal, and in some spots still close to triple digits. Now, high pressure in place, and it's parked itself right across the state. So as we do see around high pressure, kind of that moisture flow, which is surrounding the state, but not pushing through the state. And this is strong high pressure. Now we show you this kind of in a 2-dimensional viewpoint, but let me give you a 3-dimensional view where as we do have this high pressure, it's just like a dome across the state. It's a high pressure cooker is that what we're under here, where again, we're seeing these temperatures well above normal, smashing the records, and we don't see a big cool off here as we look over the next several days. So for tonight, it's mostly clear. Overnight lows and down into the 60s, at least across northern Utah, Cache Valley, though it's 50s as well as in Park City. Looks like 70s in St. George. Tomorrow, yeah, cranking up the heat another level. Triple digits from Ogden all the way through Provo. I know tomorrow night, as we'll report, we'll have several spots and cities will be breaking records, or at least tying those records, where, as you can see, Moab, Richfield, Cedar City, through the Wasatch Front, all western Utah. Look at that St. George temperature. This is where you've been here over the past few days where, yeah, temperatures above 100 degrees. All right, let's take a look, though, as we move through your 7-day forecast, where for southern Utah, it's going to be very hot. 111, 109, 110. It's dry, too. We don't see a chance of rain, at least for the valleys. End of the week, we get a little bit more cloud cover, maybe seeing a mountain shower. All in all, though, we'll keep it hot, all above normal, but really hot. But hopefully we're down into the 90s as we look towards the end of the week.
Still ahead, there seems to be an app for everything these days, and there may be one that could give companies a little peace of mind when it comes to clearing employees to get back to work. We'll show you how it works coming up.
And millennials are the targets of a cancer risk that they may not be aware of. We'll show you the new research. The coronavirus is forcing millions of people to continue working from home, but some companies are looking to a day when the employees will come back.
As Maya Rodriguez tells us, to do so safely, they're turning to technology found in a smartphone and the sound of your voice.
It sounds like a visit to the doctor's office. But this high-tech checkup doesn't involve a medical professional, but rather an app.
It is a completely objective measure.
David Liu is with Sond Health, the company behind an app called Sond One. It's designed to screen employees at home for potential respiratory ailments like COVID-19, in part through the sound of their voice.
Speaking is one of the most complex physical things that a person can do. Many parts of the body have to come together, including your brain, your lips, your mouth, your lungs, your heart.
Which is where the app comes in. After answering a few symptom-related questions, it prompts a person to say, "Ah," for a set amount of time. The app then either clears the person to go into the office or notifies them and their employer something may be amiss.
It's a biomarker like any other that the body produces.
The voice analysis technology has been used before in helping screen people for depression, and several studies done in the US, Australia, and Germany show it may have merit.
And symptoms of disease show up, they will impede or change your ability to speak.
But the app can't specifically detect coronavirus. It can pick up if someone might have a cold, the flu, or even asthma. Still, some companies are signing on.
There's a group of managers who are testing this, on a daily basis right now, just so that we can learn like the ins and outs of it.
Ed McNamara is with the New Jersey-based software company SHI, which has 5,000 employees.
Our culture as a company is one that is really based in us, being together and collaborating in person.
But COVID-19 put a stop to that because, like millions of others, they're working from home. The company hopes that might change sometime in the fall and that the app could be part of their strategy to come back.
It's one complement of all of the other activities that we're undertaking, just to make sure that, when we do come back to the office, it's in the safest possible way.
Safety that could hinge on the sound of your voice. In Washington, D.C., I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Still ahead, problems at the post office continue, and it could be reaching a head on Capitol Hill soon. The actions lawmakers may take soon when we come back.
In the race for the White House, one of the key issues happening this weekend is what could happen with the U.S. Postal Service ahead of this election.
In North Carolina, hundreds of protesters gathered for a demonstration outside the home of the new Postmaster General. His name is Louis DeJoy and has been a major donor and fundraiser for President Trump. Critics worry his recent shakeup of the U.S. Postal Service will harm mail-in voting and the integrity of the election.
I would like for the nation's leaders to care enough about democracy that everyone's vote counts, and a great leader would never, ever impinge a person's right to vote.
White House and USPS officials say the agency won't remove any more collection boxes or sorting machines until after the election, but Democrats want answers and action.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's calling the House back into session to vote on USPS legislation. As Britt Conway reports, it's an unprecedented move.
Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night. But the unofficial motto of the United States Postal Service never mentioned a presidential election. Now it's in the middle of a battle between Republicans and Democrats.
The post office has been losing money for over 10 years.
Let's save the post office.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for the House to return from recess this week. It's an unprecedented move to be in session at any time during one of the party conventions. Both of them are coming up. Pelosi says she wants a vote on the Delivering for America Act, which would keep the Postal Service from making any changes to operations that were in place at the beginning of the year. Senator Chuck Schumer also called for Postmaster General Louis DeJoy and Chairman of the Postal Service Board of Governors Robert Duncan to testify. And he had another demand Sunday.
I'm demanding that Leader McConnell go into regular session so we can have these hearings.
Other Democrats are on board.
This is very serious. Our members are concerned about the implications this has to have a fair election with every vote counted.
And if White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows is right, Republicans want the same thing.
Congress needs to come back and get their act together and work. I can tell you the Republican senators, they're talking about exactly that.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Voting by mail is being touted as the safe way to participate in this year's elections because of the coronavirus, but that adds additional hurdles for some minorities. More than half of American Indians and Alaska Natives in the U.S. live in rural areas. These are areas where they don't necessarily have a street address to include on a voter registration form. Another issue is some are given incorrect voting districts. Our partners at Newsy found Native American members of Congress are pushing for fair voting access.
Every single American, every single voter in this country should care if other citizens' voting rights are being trampled on.
Meanwhile, advocacy groups like the Rural Utah Project are looking at options like plus codes to reach Native American voters. Plus codes are addresses based on shortened latitude and longitude coordinates and could help place people in the correct voting district, register them, and get them counted in the census.
He's a veteran. He was disabled and all. He was very excited to see that I was there to get him registered. He's like, this is the first time anybody has ever come to my house, told me about the elections, registered me. Now I know when I vote, my vote is placed in that count.
On top of access to ballots and polls, past research has revealed that minority voters are twice as likely to have their mail-in ballot rejected as white voters.
Happening tomorrow, the 2020 Democratic National Convention will kick off, but things will look a lot different when those party frontrunners take the center stage this year. Adriana Mendez explains how everything will work.
The countdown is now on to this year's 2020 Democratic National Convention. A security perimeter and the roads are now blocked around the Wisconsin Center. And inside, party leaders are now preparing for a DNC unlike any other. It's not the Democratic National Convention anyone planned, but tomorrow it's here. What would have been the biggest event the city of Milwaukee hosted is now scaled back to a mainly virtual DNC.
I was really looking forward to all the people coming here and showing the United States how great of a city Milwaukee is.
This is a very strange convention since it's mostly virtual.
But despite the event being smaller here in Milwaukee, the logistics are bigger than ever. This is the control room, the technical backbone now tasked with running multiple taped videos and remote feeds, including that of Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, who will be giving his speech from his home state.
You'll see a lot of things that feel very similar to kind of traditional conventions. You will see Senator Harris and Vice President Joe Biden walk out on a stage and give their acceptance remarks. But you will also see all 57 states and territories in some exciting locations among them.
Just below the control room, a smaller conference area with a single podium and a few cameras. Inside, this is where Wisconsin delegates will step up to address a national audience.
Right here in Milwaukee, you will see a live speaker every night. So we're excited to put a spotlight on Milwaukee and Wisconsin for this whole week.
Despite having to create a DNC unlike any other, organizers say tomorrow's event is a crucial showcase of the Democratic Party and what they stand for.
The pressure is really on to make sure that we do this in a way that speaks to every American and also recognizes that people are going to be viewing this in a slightly different way and through a different experience over the last few months that our country has gone through.
And we've already seen protesters show up here outside of the Wisconsin Center. The DNC runs until August 20th. Reporting outside of the Wisconsin Center, I'm Adriana Mendez.
Meanwhile, the president's re-election campaign is planning some counter-programming, sending him to 4 swing states this week.
This entire week, starting today, starting this morning, we are really flooding the zone, taking our message to the American people. We're all over the Sunday shows, both the campaign folks as well as the president himself, while Joe Biden and all of his surrogates have chosen to ignore the Sunday shows on the eve of their convention.
Fox News has also learned that the Trump campaign will host a nightly recap of the DNC. It's going to be called, quote, The Real Joe Biden, and that will happen at 9 o'clock each night of the DNC.
Still ahead, where are your tax dollars spent? We'll show you the new Look website from the state that explains where it all goes and who gets paid the big bucks in the state of Utah. Coming up.
You're watching Fox 13 News. Let's connect.
In a 2020 state economic competitiveness ranking, Utah ranked first in the nation for economic outlook. And this isn't the first time. Fox 13's Max Roth breaks down the report and explains why Utah is seeing such great success.
It's really an incredible track record for Utah's economy to be so competitive for so long. As we've measured the states now for more than a decade.
This is the 13th year in a row that Utah has come in first, and many people are asking,
how can Utah have stayed at the top for so long? And I think it's really a mix of prudent state government and mixing a desire to live within your means at the state level, where other states have overextended themselves.
The American Legislative Exchange Council is a conservative group, and their 15 policy variables show it. They're used to rank the economic outlook of states. Factors range from property tax burden, income tax, state minimum wage, they like it to be low, quality of state legal system, and workers' compensation costs, to name a few. Williams also said one of the main reasons Utah continues to stay at the top is because Utah remains what he calls a pro-business state.
A lot of what we measure is, how friendly that state is to business development, to entrepreneurship, to startups, and to working and living and enjoying building a family in a state. And Utah's got some great attributes, whether you look at tax rates and deregulation or labor policy. Utah has some of the very best policies out there.
Maybe Utah's good fortune has bled into neighboring states, with Wyoming coming in at number 2 and Idaho at number 3. States like California, Illinois, New Jersey, Vermont, and New York ranking in the bottom 5.
No other state has ever been at the top of our Rich States, Poor States Index since we started it 2007. And so congratulations to all of my friends out in Utah for earning that honor.
If you'd like to read the full report, we have a link on our website, fox13now.com. Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Utah State Auditor is relaunching an effort to show you how your tax dollars are being spent in the state. Fox 13's Ben Winslow shows us what that means for you.
It's your money, so where's it going? The state has redesigned a little-known website that tracks how tax dollars are spent.
We call it Transparent Utah. You can go to transparent.utah.gov to find it. And it basically opens the check register of the state and all the local governments in Utah.
The site has been in existence for years, but recently got a facelift.
We work to really speed it up, and we try to make it more convenient.
On it, you can find information about public employee salaries, contracts, where state money comes from, and where it goes. It includes state, local governments, and school district data.
A lot of folks like to look to see what the governor makes, and that's where you can just go to that search. And the governor is not the highest paid employee in the state.
If you take all of government and the education system, the highest paid public employee is University of Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham.
$4.3 million in wages paid to Kyle.
The site also digs deeper into vendor contracts. These are companies that do business with the state.
Clearly, road construction is a big thing for the state. So Layton Oakland Construction in 2020 received $145 million, clearly going to construction projects. You can look at Salt Lake County, and you can see United Behavioral Health received $66 million in 2019. And so you can dive into those type of details very quickly and look across whatever entity or set of entities the public cares about. We're trying to open up and make that information much more accessible, much more transparent.
On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up in sports, we'll hear from a couple of Jazz players after their teammate Mike Conley left the NBA bubble to be at the birth of his child. And former BYU golfer Peter Quest felt right at home at the Utah Open at Riverside Country Club. The highlights are on the way.
Welcome back. A new study has found that millennials are apparently at more of a risk of getting colon cancer.
Fox 13's Amy Nay looks at these alarming findings in tonight's Healthier Together report.
Colon cancer could take the lives of some 53,000 Americans this year.
A recent study by the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association has noted that certain risk factors of chronic diseases increase your likelihood of having colorectal cancer.
Dr. Drew Oliveira with Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah says those include Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, diabetes, and obesity.
Alarmingly, these same risk factors are increasing 35 to 100% in the millennial population. Our younger individuals ages 22 to 38. If you can catch it earlier, it can be treated successfully.
He suggests talking to your doctor about early screenings and taking a closer look at how you're living.
Just maintain a healthy body weight throughout your life. Diet, exercise, fruits, vegetables, all are important components to being able to maintain that weight.
And limit your drinking.
The American Cancer Society recommends no alcohol use. Alcohol has been associated with multiple different types of cancer development. If you must drink, for women, 1 drink per day. For men, 2 drinks per day at a maximum.
Andy says if you're prone to diabetes, go on a low-carb, low-sugar diet now.
Please stay healthy. Get screened early.
For Healthier Together, Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you have health questions or story ideas, Fox 13 and Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah would like to hear from you. You can contact us at healthiertogether@fox13now.com.
All right, Breck, not only is it hot, but now we have to worry about the air quality too.
Oh yeah, it's bad out there today. Northern through southern Utah, a lot of smoke in the air. Now, one of the benefits of the smoke though, particularly sunrise or sunset, making for spectacular viewpoints. As I share a photo coming in from a viewer, this is Scott Taylor down in Goblin Valley. This looks just like a postcard here. Beautiful sunrise, yeah, but a lot of smoke in the air where air quality even becomes more of a concern with this high pressure in place. We just keep the air so stagnant, not really mixing out, and we're increasing the smoke, pushing in as we're going to be moving more towards southwest flow here over the next few days. Current temperature 85 degrees, winds fairly light, humidity low. It's that low humidity, again, in combination with the heat that we're going to experience as we'll keep things fairly dry. Now, I mentioned the wildfire situation, the smoke pushing through the region where, especially across northern Utah, we're seeing conditions more medium as it pertains to the density of the smoke where, again, the biggest impact is across the north, and we saw that today. You know, it looks like the reports were coming that we had cloudy conditions. That was no clouds. It was the smoke that was going on, and it's not good to breathe. So unhealthy category as it pertains to the air quality across northern Utah here, both for tomorrow and Tuesday. So it's the smoke, it's the ozone, and yeah, we're not getting a break from the heat where, once again, as a reminder, the watches and warnings in place, all associated with the heat, with that excessive heat warning still, as this has been across southern Utah. Now we're incorporating most of western into northwestern Utah for tomorrow, and even looking along the Wasatch Front. Wasatch back under heat advisories through Duchesne County as well. Cache Valley in that mix where temperatures well above normal, and we're going to be breaking records in the forecast as we look at least for the next 2-3 days across the state, where some of these heat warnings will be in place up until Wednesday or Thursday. So this is a long extended warning, as again, we're not going to get a break from the heat with high pressure in place, and the position of this high pressure is somewhat to take note of, where, as you can see, it's parked over the state. So as we look at the high pressure and this dome of high pressure, it's forcing the moisture around the state, not through the state. Now we'll get a little cloud cover. Looks like Thursday into Friday, that could produce maybe a mountain shower, but no big threat of seeing any rain. Really no chance for the valleys where, again, it's been almost 20 days, at least along the Wasatch Front, since we've seen measurable precipitation. And this high pressure just does not move very much here as we look over the next several days. I show you taking a look for today and tomorrow, that transition where, again, you see that hot red indications where that high pressure position will be. As we look Tuesday and Wednesday, it just doesn't move. Thursday, it breaks down just a little bit temporarily, but we'll keep that southwest flow, which will keep temperatures going and above normal heading into the weekend. But the hottest temperatures will be here for the next 3 days, and here we begin cranking it up. And for tomorrow, again, records broken across several spots statewide. Now, specifically looking at those high temperatures tomorrow, it's 100 in Ogden, 103 in Salt Lake City, 102 in Provo. Again, records for tomorrow. It's about 99 degrees, so we're looking to break a record in the forecast across northern Utah. But again, central and southern Utah, several spots, including St. George, you're threatening record-breaking territory in the forecast here for the next 3 days, as it's going to be very hot. Excessive heat warnings in place. A little cooler by Friday and Saturday, but again, keeping temperatures above normal, and you're not seeing a raindrop on those 7 days. Northern Utah, we're seeing upper 90s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but still, our average high should be about 90 degrees, but there are the triple digits. We get 3 days, and here we go. Definitely avoid the outdoors throughout the afternoon and try to stay cool.
Well, congratulations to Mike Conley and his wife. The Jazz starting point guard left the NBA bubble this morning to be with his wife, Mary, in Columbus, Ohio, as she gave birth to their third child. This comes just one day before the Jazz will start their first-round playoff series with the Denver Nuggets. But the Jazz were planning for this. Conley and head coach Quinn Snyder told the media last month that the organization fully supported Mike leaving to be with his wife and child this time. Conley will at least miss the first 2 playoff games. He has to test negative each day for COVID-19 that he's outside the bubble, and then quarantine for 4 days when he returns before he is cleared to play. His teammates will have to step it up while he's gone, but they know this is the right decision.
We 100% support him going to see his family and be with his family. So that's kind of first and foremost. But yeah, obviously, on the flip side of that, he's a big part of our team. So whenever Mary and Mike feel comfortable that it's the right time for him to come back, we'll obviously bring him in with open arms. But until then, it's one of those things. It's much bigger than basketball. Him being there with his family and Mary is priority number 1 right now.
You know, Mike is definitely a loss for us right now for these, whatever time being it is that he's gone. Everybody just got to, next man up. That's it. You can't think about nothing else. We put the effort out. We're going to get a good result. And congrats to Mike. Being a father is, more important than all this. And, I'm happy for him and happy he's getting to experience this. Another one, and it's a blessing.
Former BYU Cougar Peter Quest dominated the Utah Open this weekend at Riverside Country Club in Provo. He started the final round with a 5-shot lead, and he kept it going today, starting with a birdie on the first hole. Then on the 8th, nice approach shot, knocked it near the flagstick in the back of the green to set up his 4th birdie on the front 9. Shot a final round 66, won by 7 shots at 23 under par. Coming up tonight on the Fox 13 Sports page, we'll have more from the Jazz as they get ready to take on the Denver Nuggets in Game 1 of their first-round playoff series tomorrow. Plus BYU football, they're getting ready for their seasons, and reaction from the Utes and Aggies and more on their moving their football seasons to next year.
4 games on the schedule, is that right for BYU?
Yes, for BYU, they could go undefeated.
Crazy, right?
4
But
games.
you got to get 6 to get in the postseason, right? So regardless, it's just a strange year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll be right back. Finally on Fox 13, dog owners, this one's for you. Costco teaming up with dog toy designer Bark to create a line of toys for your dog. The toy bundle recreates Costco food court items, so you might have recognized some of these things. Your pet can now playfully bite down on the all-squeak hot dog, pepperoni pizza, and soda pup. I like it. Your dog can also get its own membership card to chew on. The dog toy bundle now available at participating Costco stores for just $15.99, Brack. I'm going to have to check it out and see if we've got some in our Salt Lake County.
Well, Brack, it's not the dog days of summer anymore, but it sure feels like it.
Maybe not officially, but yeah, this has been a weird year, so you might as well extend those dog days of summer because it's going to feel like it. Look at these temperatures, triple digits for the next 3 days. Stay cool. Have a great summer.
Good advice. Thanks for watching Fox 13 News at 9.
Don't go anywhere. Quickcast is coming up next. Sports page after that. Have a great night.